this word, I welcome you all, and with the introduction, I would request sir to take charge of the session. Over to you, Manish sir.
Thank you, Etang bhai, and thank you, Harish ji, for this opportunity to share probably what I have learned in so many years about and how this ecosystem we can preserve on the World Environment Day. It becomes an important topic. Of course, it is not that we should be celebrating only once in a year. It is just to recognize that yes, we need to come together. We need to look at how to understand what the problem is, and so I have tried to put together a small a few slides to look at the topic today, where if we are looking at how we could be part of a solution for the plastic pollution, because ultimately when when the theme is beat the plastic or how to reduce how to handle the plastic pollution, there are probably three key words which we can use, which we have been hearing about, और हम लोग इसके बारे में बहुत बार सुनते भी हैं कि reduce, reuse and recycle. इसमें means if we see, there are two areas where I have worked personally, and that's something which I will share. But broadly, if you look at the plastic pollution, it is related when we look at reduce or reuse or recycle. Principally, we are talking of the Sustainable Development Goal 12, which is responsible consumption and production, related to how efficiently we are using our resources, how we are looking at the what we look at today as a liability. From my perspective, it is a resource which can also generate decent work and economic growth, and that is why SDG 12 and SDG 8, from our perspective, at two enterprises, Rhino Machines and Mimamsa, where I'm personally part of the founding team working in this system. We understand that there's a strong relationship between the two, apart from the other sustainable development goals which go around it. So perhaps it is important to understand when you are looking at this ecosystem. It is important for us to understand that how we have moved from a circular economy, जो अगर हम हमारी पुरानी हैबिट्स को भी देखेंगे, and I remember when I was a young in school, that we were always trained, or we always were made aware not to throw away or how to reuse things, and how to have take only those things which are needed. So the concept of reduce or reuse are not new. Repurpose is an extension where anything which comes out of any activity, probably it may not be used in the same function. मतलब आपने कोई material दिया है, you may not use it in the same thing, but you could always find another purpose for that material, and that's.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. If you can share your screen, probably.
Oh,
is
sorry.
Not shared.
Okay, I forgot. I was seeing my screen.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
yes. Now the screen
is this is the first screen, of course. We are. So it is important to understand that when you are looking at circular economy and linear economy, it is connected to basically our habits. So जो हम लोगों ने हमारी आदतें बचपन की थी, या जो 1970s, 1980s tak jo we were having that habit, was more oriented towards circular economy. Or today I was in a session where हम लोग एक pollution control board, गुजरात pollution control board का जो country का एक mission है, life living for environment का एक campaign के अंदर. So one statement which caught my attention was that what is important, efficiency or sufficiency. Okay, efficiency में means हम लोग उनका जो कहना था कि हम efficiency बढ़ा के एक consumerism को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, means we are consuming more, so we are getting into the habit of consuming more than what we require, and that is visible when we look at the consumption today. What we are supposed to use per capita per person, वो हमारा 1.7 times of हमारी normal average जो हमारा resource की availability उससे 1.7 times resource we are consuming. And so that is one is the reduction. The reduce comes from how we can balance, find that right balance for our consumption needs. So अगर हम plastic की बात करेंगे, how is it that we can reduce our plastic consumption? That was the first part of. And the second, but over a period of time after 1990s or perhaps as हम लोग हमारी economy open हुई, we moved to a linear economy where we are taking, making, consuming, and then we are discarding. So plastic, which came and became a revolution, has become which we consider as was an asset, has now become a liability because we have moved from the circular economy to the linear economy cycle. So two aspects we need to understand is, one is whether we can reduce our plastic, and second is whether we can reuse our plastic. And third, is it possible to repurpose that plastic? Because if I'm not able to reuse in the same form because of its properties, can I repurpose? क्या मैं उसका एक दूसरा उपयोग कर सकता हूँ कि नहीं, ताकि मैं उसको वो रिसोर्स को इस सर्कल के अंदर रखूं, बजाय कि मैं उसको लेके बना के कंज्यूम करके डिस्कार्ड कर दूं. तो दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच आई थिंक इज फंडामेंटल, हमारी हैबिट्स के ऊपर है, और जब तक हम उस हैबिट के ऊपर ध्यान नहीं करेंगे, मैं समझता हूँ कि इट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू, जो हम बोल रहे हैं उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना. एंड टू ओवरकम दिस चैलेंजेस, here I will like to take some feedback of any of the participants, if you can share that if I want to reduce and recycle or reuse or repurpose, कहाँ से शुरू करेंगे? Where do I start if I want to? Because perhaps हम लोग, whoever we have joined over here, we all understand that the importance of the 3 R's: reuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. But how to do it is the question. So what are the challenges existing, and how we could address those challenges, how we could convert those challenges into a solution. Some time back, we had made one presentation. We talked of the power of one. Power of one मतलब the one person जिसके ऊपर मेरा पूरा control है, that is me, myself. Most of the times हम लोग दूसरे को ज्ञान बांटने में ज्यादा रहते कि आपको ये नहीं करना चाहिए, आपको वो नहीं करना चाहिए, you should not do this. But is it possible that first I look at myself? Can I practice what I preach? And can I demonstrate how it is done? So for doing that, if you are able to look at dividing this activity into 4 parts, what is it that I am using in my daily routine, जिसको मैं either I can reduce, I can reuse, or I can recycle. So if I want to understand whether I can take it into these 3 categories, the first thing is I must look at what comes in my house, or what do I buy? What is it that I use in my daily routine? Whether I'm eating bread or I'm eating, it is related to my food. I'm buying eggs, I'm buying vegetables, I'm buying milk pouches, and or I'm buying clothes, or I'm buying plastic bags. So how many articles of plastic am I buying? When I want to look at reducing plastic, first I must understand what is the plastic I'm consuming. So there have been a lot of interventions where people have said, let us do away with plastic bottles and we use our own bottles. So that is the first step. It is in my control that I will carry my own bottle of water along with me. So I don't have to use a plastic bottle or buy a plastic bottle. So that starts with me. And then if you look at this, the challenge starts when it becomes a question of availability. It becomes a question of economics. क्योंकि हर बार तो मैं बाहर जा रहा हूँ तो I cannot carry water everywhere, or I cannot carry so many things everywhere. And plus, if I say that instead of plastic, if I'm going to use cloth or a paper bag, then it is more expensive. So the economics may not work out. But at least I must be able to evaluate what I am doing today. I may not have a solution today, but if I stop, think, evaluate, and then start looking for what is available, what are the alternates available, and start to shift your habits from first buying as much as needed, reducing, trying to see how can reuse what I have bought, or try to see where this thing, after using, can I move that what I have bought from a linear economy today, जब मैं उसको फेंक रहा हूँ, instead of throwing it away, can I look at reusing it or repurposing it into and bring it into the circular economy so that I can reduce my my resource efficiency of the world. And ultimately, when I look at plastic and we talk so much of plastic, there is one thought which I can leave with you, is whether plastic is the problem or is my habit the problem? Is it the way I handle plastic which is a problem, or is plastic the problem? This is a question we should ask ourselves. Because 70% or more of the plastic can be recycled if they are handled properly. Today, it is not that it is we who are putting wet garbage and mixing it with plastic and then throwing it into dustbins. Now, how do I separate them? It becomes very complicated. And that is where I start getting into the cycle of dumping on the roads or in the dump yards. But if I start making a habit, and if I look at how this can be done at my home, then I can look at adopting the alternatives. Once we have been able to do this for ourselves, and we understand the challenges, we understand what kind of solutions are possible, we can, as we are doing today, we are trying to spread our experience, sensitize others, and keep asking this question: what are you doing? Whatever you're doing, is it sustainable? Can we understand the impact on the climate? So, Haribhai, is it, if there are some ideas or some questions which anybody has on this, I'll stop sharing my screen for a bit, and I would like to understand from participants if there are some questions on or some of their experiences on this. Can you share how you think, or what are the challenges you think in this? Because I can keep on speaking, but if I
yes.
don't hear anything.
This is the right way of doing the session, that people should come up sharing their ideas, their challenges. So I'll start with my view and challenge. हमने बहुत बार देखा, सपोज हमको ये बोल दिया गया कि प्लास्टिक वेस्ट को कम करना है, पर कहीं पे भी बाहर जाएंगे तो विदाउट प्लास्टिक पॉलिथीन या विदाउट प्लास्टिक बैग वी डू नॉट फाइंड एन अल्टरनेटिव वे, फर्स्ट.
करेक्ट.
सेकंड, जब भी हमको बोल दिया गया कि सेग्रीगेशन कर दो, उसको अलग कर दो, and somebody else will take it up and somebody will do some jugglery work, तो प्लास्टिक का रिडक्शन कम हो जाएगा. सो चैलेंजेस के यहाँ से हमने उसको अलग कर भी दिया, उसके बाद क्या हो रहा है वी डू नॉट नो. हाउ द सेग्रीगेशन इज डन, हाउ द रिडक्शन एफर्ट्स आर बीइंग टेकन, वो हमको नहीं पता है. प्रोबेबली यू मे बी द राइट पर्सन हु कैन गाइड अस एंड मेक अस अवेयर हमको अभी क्या करने की जरूरत है going forward, and how further process is being taken. एक बार यहाँ से जब हम निकल जाता है उसके बाद में क्या होता है. You can also read some of the people writing on a chat box, so
Yeah.
that is a good way of communication.
Yeah, so let me first start with your question, Harish bhai. And I think this is something which is fundamental or similar to what I have also faced, so I can relate to it. That हमको दे दिया था कि there are two bins. Put your wet garbage in this, you put your dry garbage in this, and then at the end of the day we sign के जब वो collect होके जाता है, we are not able to see that it is being reutilized or recycled, and most of the times we see that it is getting mixed. तो जो मैंने हैबिट बनाई वो हैबिट फर्म होने से पहले, बिफोर द हैबिट बिकेम वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग, it was broken because the ecosystem was not available, and this is definitely a challenge. So one is that I have to use a plastic bag, so whether I can have an option for that. Second is, if I don't have an option, what do I do with the plastic bag? ठीक है, दो तरह से हम ये क्वेश्चन को रख सकते हैं. Is that how we can put it, Harish bhai?
Yes sir, definitely.
So for example, Usha ji has written, ideas I use for morning ablutions: bamboo or wheat straw, toothbrush, eggshell, toothpaste, steel glass or water. So basically what you are expressing is that I understand there is a problem, and you're using milk from cow, you're using in a steel container, you're using, so instead of tea pouches you're using loose tea leaves. So small things we are doing at our own place, but then is it enough? Is that so are we able to take this to the community level? Is this scalable? Can everybody in the community do this? Can everybody afford this? Now, during the session today, there was one very interesting statement, was that why do I need a mineral water bottle? And I'll give you an example of a visit to one village in Italy, where I had stayed for 4 or 5 days. If you go to Europe, you can drink tap water. The statement the gentleman gave today was कि हमारा intention, should it be that the poorest person can afford a bottled water, or should it be that I should see that everybody can drink tap water? Where should I invest my money? So I can say means everybody has drinking water, so I can reach a bottled water to them. But the moment I go into bottled water, that means I am inviting plastic into the system. And ultimately I am generating a problem, and then I'm trying to solve the problem. But in Italy, I saw there was a common water distribution system in the village, where people used to go with their glass bottles, fill the water and bring it back. If you go to hotels, you have tap water is coming with is drinkable today, and that ultimately reduces your consumption of bottled water. So reduction is also related to how we are investing in infrastructure. If in a society, so let us look from an individual, you move to a society. At home, we are doing this. At home, we are putting a filter, we are doing our own filtration. But then what if this was done at a community level? What if this was done at a village level? What if this was done at a district level? The moment I am able to make available things which are available to the masses, and I'm addressing the problem at the source, I think it could be a very long-term solution. It's slow, but if there's a demand now to adapt any solution. So Harish bhai, your question about this plastic ecosystem, there's already a lot of recycling technology which has been developed, and I have seen rag pickers who pick up PET bottles from the garbage and sell it at 10 rupees a kg. I asked one rag picker, I was in Jaipur, he was in the morning, you'll not find any PET bottle in a garbage bin today, because there's an ecosystem for recycling the PET bottles today. But instead of that rag picker picking up the bottle from that garbage dump, would it not be possible that if we get into a habit change and take our bottles and see that collection goes to a system? So an ecosystem needs to be built up, and communities like JCI or any community, if they are able to scale this up, then it becomes viable. Because today recycling also needs a viability quotient, and that is something which we need to look at. So let us go to now how this ecosystem could be built. What we have been able to do so there were two projects which we have done, one on plastic and second is on fabric. This take, make, consume and discard, we have just removed the discard to collect and upcycle. This ecosystem, if we are able to look at a community level, whether it is rural or urban or at the block level, so the collection system, the solution is, as you said, that segregation of trash at home, office, factory, wherever it is, keeping wet and plastic separate. This is something which we are all aware of. The second part, which somehow has not gone to the next level, is aggregate this together at a community level so that the collection becomes viable for the collector. Because if a collection agency goes to 300 households in a society, where, for example, I stay in a society which has 250 houses, and if I go individually to every house, my cost of collection will be so high that the ecosystem will not be sustainable. But the same society, if I, as a one of the person living in that society, make that small effort to put it into a common place which is 100, 200 meters from my house, then my aggregation starts. Once this aggregation starts, the collection becomes viable and economical. The second is to identify recyclers. If we are able to look at collecting in a community and then work with, and how can we identify recyclers? If you go to the Pollution Control Board today, they have, because every recycler is registered under Pollution Control Board. So they will have that entire list of recyclers available in the region around you who would be able to collect your plastic. If there is not, perhaps there is an opportunity for somebody once you collaborate with the ecosystem around. A chamber of commerce could, or any institution like you could, when it becomes a cohort, when it becomes a larger group, it is possible that we can go and talk to the local bodies and say, we as a community are ready to work together. And there is where we need to identify recyclers for each kind of different waste which is generated. And the third most important part to make this circle complete is, if you see, we have done everything, but then we need to look at promoting consumption of those materials ourselves also. Because if there's a recycler and if I'm not taking that product back and using that product, if I'm not giving priority to using a sustainable product, perhaps the circle will not be complete. So the question which you asked, Harish Bhai, is, when the plastic is taken from your home, are you able to trace that plastic and are you able to identify how that plastic can come back to your home? If you look at, a lot of work has been done in certain plastics which are recyclable, where you'll find shampoo bottles or those where they say that we have got 80% recycled plastic. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are already consuming. But the challenge lies with the 20 to 30% plastic, which we find is not easy to recycle, which is multi-layer plastic, mixed plastic, or it is single-use plastics of different kinds. There, the solution can be looked at. New solutions which have come up, innovations which I'll share with you. It's possible that there could be a repurposing of that plastic. So if I cannot reduce, I may not be able to reuse it, but I may not be able to recycle, but I could repurpose that plastic. So this is something which we can look at. So that this is when we look up repurposing. This is another solution which we looked at, was when you talked of plastic bags to go to cotton bags, or this is another area which we discovered in 2020 when we were faced with COVID. And if you look at the amount of surgical and N95 masks which are used, the adaptation. So here what becomes important is not related to the specific. I'm just giving this as an example, that if a new technology is developed where there is sustainability demonstrated, perhaps it is for us to look at adapting, understanding, absorbing those technologies. If we want to reduce plastic pollution, we need to adapt new solutions, help them build those solutions, because innovations cannot grow unless the community accepts that innovation into their system. So there'll be a period of experimentation to check whether it is viable or not, whether it is having that efficacy or not. So at Nimansa, what we did was, for all the excess fabric which we're having after making garments and dresses, there have been bags of different shapes, and it was a combination of multiple sustainable development goals. But because with that, we were also able to create an economy for NGOs and generate a decent income for them. So this is one example. The second, which I'm talking of, combining an industry waste with a plastic waste, where we are looking at mixed plastic, which low value plastic getting mixed with another industry waste, dust, concrete debris, and combining that into making a sustainable building material. But now this technology or such kind of solutions can only succeed when there's a demand of such product. And I would say that I'm ready to give it a try. I'm ready to experiment. And this demand of the community, starting from change of habit, the habit of reducing, the habit of reusing, into the habit of using repurposed or recycled products, is where the important aspect of us being able to improve our environment is moving from climate things which impact our climate. Because if you take a concrete brick, for example, it has got a negative carbon footprint. We are using fresh resources. We are using cement. We are using water. We are using sand from the resources, and all of that creates environmental impact. So environment is while we but if a solution where we are using the liability of long life, not being able to, so plastic का जो हम problem बोलते हैं कि मुझे कोई बोलता है ये प्लास्टिक का जो प्रॉब्लम है ना वो 100 साल 200 साल 500 साल डिजनरेट नहीं होगा. So we consider that as a liability. I consider that as an asset, because when we formed took plastic and bonded with the industrial waste, then the life of this brick also could be 100 years, whereas a concrete brick does not have that life. A red clay brick doesn't have that life. So sometimes we'll find there will be, but yes, it is black in color. It does not have that. I cannot have a very colorful thing, but I can paint it. So how we adapt technology is an important part. What the impact can be is something which we can all understand, that if we are able to reduce just by using the bricks and pier blocks, the impact on reduction of the dumping of plastic, giving plastic a new life, taking it into the cycle again, instead of moving it from linear economy to circular economy. is where this technology can take us. So this is all what I think I wanted to share, where about the possibilities of how we can beat the plastic pollution and using the three R principles in real life. So I'm open. I'll see if there are any other questions which you'd like to take. So Hari bhai, we can go over any questions or anything you would like to know about.
Yes. So the floor is open to all. If there is a question, please you may ask to Mukesh sir.
Or something you would like to share. It is not only a question which I am here to answer. For example,
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
If I look at the message Usha ji has, Lachunpa has put into the group, what I would like to know is this scalable? Is it replicable? Is it viable? And if yes, what are the challenges? If no, if yes and no, then what is it that stops getting it? Why is it that I don't do it?
मैं तो ये बोलना चाहूंगा सर, मुझे एक चीज बहुत अच्छी लगी जब भी हम बात कर रहे हैं कि सर्कुलर हमारा कंजप्शन पैटर्न और लीनियर कंजप्शन पैटर्न जब कन्वर्ट हुआ, तो एज अ मास और एज अ कॉमन पर्सन मुझे जो समझ में आ रहा है वो ये है कि हम लोग हमारा कंजप्शन पैटर्न कभी डाउन नहीं करते हैं. व्हाट वी ऑलवेज ट्राई टू डू इज वी सीक फॉर एन ऑल्टरनेटिव. शायद हो सकता था कि प्लास्टिक के पहले वी माइट हैव सम डिफरेंट वे ऑफ हैंडलिंग द थिंग्स, बट जैसा प्लास्टिक का ऑल्टरनेटिव हमारे सामने आया, सो वी स्टार्टेड यूजिंग प्लास्टिक हेवीली. सो इट इज ब्लाइंड फोल्डेड थिंग कि हम ज्यादा एनवायरमेंट कंसर्न हुए बिना हम जो चीज यूज कर रहे हैं उसका क्या इम्पैक्ट एनवायरमेंट पे आएगा बिना सोचे वी ब्लाइंडली फॉलो द थिंग्स एंड देन वी फाइंड एन ऑल्टरनेटिव कि अब इसका क्या करेंगे. either we find an alternative of going away from a plastic, we will be finding some another way of consuming the things. So एक टाइम था चिपको आंदोलन चल रहा था कि पेड़ कट रहे हैं और आज हमको नया एक मोटिव और नया इनिशिएटिव लेके चलना पड़ रहा है कि let us reduce the plastic. So on both the scale we are actually deteriorating with environment. It is only possible if we are aware कि हम जो अपना consumption कर रहे हैं it should be only on a need based thing, not on a बोलते हैं ना कि हमको अच्छा lavishing life लेना है और उसमें अगर हमको एक चीज consumption एक्स्ट्रा चीज कर रहे हैं then there is a not an end to it. So this is what I take from the session कि हमको अपने consumption pattern पे ज्यादा focus करना है rather only finding an alternatives. That would be a wise way of curtailing the excess amount of plastic pollution. This is what I take.
No, thank you for your contribution. I would only add to that is plastic has been a very important material in changing the way our costs of reducing our costs. And I still think plastic, unless of course plastic is doing some emission on its own, or plastic is creating some carbon emission on its own, then I would say that plastic is a problem. But if I can reuse that plastic and use that property again and again, how is it that the plastic is a problem?
Yeah, rightly said.
So it is my habit which is a problem. And to make that habit, we need to come together as a community. And if we can come together as a community, instead of, so there are two ways. One is reduction is definitely one of the things which is in our control. But still, if we are not able to reduce, can we see that resource? And if you look at that resource, which is we look at that as a waste, if you look at waste as a wasted resource, right? Not as a waste, but as a wasted resource, because उसका life cycle तो खत्म नहीं हुआ था. If there is a technology which is able to put the resource back to use, why am I not investing my time and effort to see that how I can put it to use? This is a question which I would look at each individual asking themselves. Think about it. So two things which I remember. One is our daughter once told us, when you go to shop in DMart and you pick up anything from that box, close your eyes, think again, do I really need it? If not, put it back. So that is from reduce. Similarly, before disposing anything from my house, can I think of, is there a way that this can be reused? Two questions if we start asking ourselves, and the community starts following this, asking the question to oneself. Let us forget what others should do. When I read Minaji the statement, people should skip their comfort. I have no control on people. The only control I have is on myself. So if I am able to skip my comfort, if I am able to demonstrate it, and I am able to show that even by without having that comfort, I am able to enjoy the life which you are living with all those comforts. Then somebody may start thinking, because changing of habit requires some demonstration. Everybody may not be able to relate to it. This is how I would look at this message. We need no buying days. So again, it is coming to self-control.
Self-control and consumption reduction. Yes, rightly
so
said.
Everything I think lies within us. जो हम लोग जो खुद कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, दूसरे को बोलने से कोई फायदा नहीं है.
और एक चीज और देखिए सर, शायद हम लोग रेगुलर बेस पे काफी सारे टॉक और सेशन करते हैं. एवरीबडी इज कंसर्न. जब हम बात एनवायरमेंट डे की बात करेंगे, सो यू विल फाइंड पीपल आर कंसर्न. किसी को कुछ करना है और कोई आके करके दे. दिस इज व्हाट द अप्रोच ऑफ द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स और ह्यूमन काइंड्स. तो ये अप्रोच अगर जैसे जैसे ग्रेजुअली अवेयरनेस बढ़ेगा और ये अप्रोच जैसे चेंज होगा कि किसी और को नहीं करना है, हमको स्टार्ट करना है. और पहले एक छोटा सा लेवल से करें. किसी भी, आपने यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट को आज हाईलाइट किया कि हमको अपने कंजप्शन पैटर्न को फोकस करके चलना है. ग्रेजुअली ये अवेयरनेस और स्प्रेड अक्रॉस होगा. आपके दो प्रोडक्ट जो हमने देखे, विच इज एक्चुअली रीपर्पजिंग ऑफ वेस्ट प्लास्टिक, प्रोबेबली इसका भी पर्कुलेशन होगा, इसको भी लोग जानेंगे. In days to come, probably we'll see this product coming to the market, and probably many area this will be seeing in a usable form. So yeah,
there is one more thing, sir, I have noticed in this last few years. The young generation is much more conscious about this than people of my generation, our generation. So if I can give credit to learning how to be a minimalistic, it is our daughter who taught us कि आपको चाहिए उतना ही खरीदो. Today, when we are doing plastic awareness, we are doing plastic awareness at schools, क्योंकि बच्चे जो अपने पेरेंट्स को इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हैं, एडल्ट को नहीं कर सकता. ये मेरा
बहुत अच्छी बात करी, बहुत अच्छी बात करी. दिस इज व्हाट द कमेंट इज देयर आल्सो इन द चैट बॉक्स. स्कूल से ये स्टार्ट होना चाहिए, एंड यू राइटली पॉइंटेड आउट, ये वहीं से आ रहा है और ग्रेजुअली ये और बढ़ेगा. JCI also takes this forum further ahead. आपका ये जो सेशन हमने रिकॉर्ड करा है, that will be further percolated to many of the JC's member. Probably in their free time they would be able to see के ये सेशन में क्या इंफॉर्मेशन दिया गया है. At that point, that awareness will also come up.
No,
so sir, I would, with your permission, I'll hand over the floor to now Hetang Bhai back to moving towards closer of the session. Yeah, Hetang Bhai, over to you.
Thank you Harish Bhai, thank you Manish sir. So at the end of session, I would request any of the participant, if anyone wants to share their feedback or anything on the session.
I have just one request.
Yeah, please.
Next time if I meet how would I recognize you if I can't see the face of people? I can see only names.
Okay.
Or you would have seen that I have not switched off my video at any time.
Yeah.
Because, and this is a habit which is very much related to our transparency, and it is very much connected to how open I am to change of my habit also.
Correct, sir.
True. So I was not in a position to share my video, but let me do that. So I would request any participant to share their feedback on the session.
Also request if
hello?
you can put on your
yeah,
camera
Pooja
and
Pooja ji,
Hello,
please.
I am Pooja. Hello, sir. Right, you rightly said charity begins from home. तो सबसे पहले हमें ही शुरू करना पड़ेगा. And as a lady, I can suggest कि सबसे पहले as a lady हमें खुद को शुरू करना पड़ेगा कि जैसे हम बाहर शॉपिंग करने जाते हैं तो हमें ही ये ध्यान रखना है कि प्लास्टिक का बैगेजेस नहीं लेना है, घर से अपना थैली लेके जाना है. ये सब चीज the way you say कि we have to begin with reducing. तो अभी reduce हम कर रहे हैं. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे वी आर ट्राइंग टू लर्न कि कैसे हम उसका रिपर्पस कर सकते हैं या फिर उसको कैसे रिसाइकल करना है. जैसे मेरे ही घर में हम लोग प्लास्टिक का बॉटल यूज करते हैं प्लांटेशन के लिए कि अगर बॉटल है जो फिर जैसे 5 लीटर का बॉटल आता है तो उसको काट के फिर हम उसके अंदर मिट्टी डाल के उसके अंदर ट्री प्लांट कर देते हैं. तो उस हिसाब से ये पूरा हम अपने हिसाब से करते हैं, बट डेफिनेटली और बहुत कुछ हो सकता है और बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं. द वे यू suggested that brick the idea of making that brick, it was really wonderful, and definitely reuse, repurpose, and everything. The idea is completely fantastic, and actually we should use that in our real life. मतलब अगर हम रूटीन में उसको यूज करना चालू करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली देयर विल बी अ डे कि जब ये इसका एनवायरनमेंट पे पॉजिटिव इफेक्ट आएगा.
Pooja ji, I think I 100% agree with you. And हमारे यहाँ आनंद में जब हम काम कर रहे हैं, एक संस्था है इनर व्हील क्लब, आप जानते होंगे, जो रोटरी की वुमेन विंग है. दे हैव बीन द मोस्ट एक्टिव. सारी जो काम उन्होंने महिलाओं ने किया है वो पुरुष नहीं कर पाए. क्योंकि आप, उसका रीजन है क्योंकि आप रोज उस सिस्टम से जुड़े हुए हैं, है ना. जितना आप ध्यान रख सकते हैं, शायद मैं हमारे ऑफिस में काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं मशीन पे काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं उतना ध्यान से नहीं देख सकता हूँ जितना बारीकी से एक महिला अपने घर को जो देख रही है उसके पास जितना नॉलेज है. द अमाउंट ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द इकोसिस्टम अ वुमन हैज एट होम इज इमेंस. ऑल वी नीड टू डू इज दैट channelize that energy, bring them together and make a movement. It is possible. मैंने अपने सामने इनर व्हील क्लब को किस लेवल तक लेके गए. आज हम उन महिलाओं के साथ वो सेशन था, so they have taken to a very without any expectation. ऐसा नहीं कि हमको ये मिलेगा वो मिलेगा, कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं. उनका एज, मतलब जो आज आई थी जिनको फैसिलिटेट किया है, शी वाज 80+ and still she was as active as and came to the session. 80+. So age is no bar.
No bar, yes. डेफिनेटली अगर हम लोग शुरू करेंगे, क्योंकि घर में यही सब हमारा ही रहता है कि क्या चीज कैसे मैनेज करना है, तो अगर हमसे ही शुरू होगा तो डेफिनेटली आगे जाएगा.
Thank you so much for that.
True. Thank you, Pujaben, for your feedback. Now I would request our immediate past president Mohan Bhagwani sir to give a formal vote of thanks. Mohan bhai.
Thank you, Ethan bhai, for giving me this opportunity. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Ethan bhai, for giving me this opportunity. And see, at the end of the session, I would like to say that being a teacher, मेरा हमेशा से ये effort रहता है that the students should be motivated to ask questions. उनका जो anxiousness या eagerness to know है वो बढ़ना चाहिए. So in this session, मतलब obviously हम लोग प्लास्टिक के बारे में अवेयर हैं, पॉल्यूशन के बारे में अवेयर हैं, बट फिर भी सर ने जिस तरह से सेशन कंडक्ट किया और जिस क्वेश्चंस को उन्होंने एड्रेस किया है और जो हमारे माइंड में क्वेश्चंस नए क्रिएट हुए हैं, ओके, सो फॉर श्योर जब भी हम नेक्स्ट टाइम किसी चीज़ का कंजम्पशन करेंगे, ओके, क्योंकि as the sir told in the beginning of the session about the sustainable development goals, about responsible production and consumption, so that struck me very well, and I would like to thank Manish sir for striking the right questions in our mind and making us aware about what he does for the environment. And, let's say at our home also, when I got married a certain years back, so we made a practice that as I was living in PG, I was living individually, and then I started with my family. तो मेरा पहले से ये गोल था फर्स्ट डे से कि हम जब भी मिल्क पाई करने जाएंगे, वी विल नॉट बी बाइंग मिल्क इन प्लास्टिक, ओके, वी विल कैरी आवर ओन कंटेनर, and when we are going to buy vegetables, so we'll have our own bags with us, and least possible, ऐसा तो नहीं है कि बिल्कुल ही प्लास्टिक को कम कर दिया, तो जितना हो सके उतना, ओके, रिड्यूस करने की कोशिश करेंगे. It is again a reminder to us with this session कि हमें constantly ये कोशिश करनी चाहिए. So I would like to thank Manish sir, all the participants, and specifically our president sir, Mr. Harish, for organizing this session and making us aware. A big thank you to sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, at the end, I would also like to share with you that we have a few friends who are joined us right from Nagaland, where they are trying to build a similar system, because the problems, whether it is in Gujarat or Nagaland, I think and I would like to thank them for joining in and being part of the session. And thank you for JCI for sharing this opportunity, allowing us to share with them.
No, we are equally thankful on behalf of JCI Baroda to all the people joining far from Nagaland. And the start of the session, I narrated one of the topic was we all are same. We are part of nature. So the people residing in Nagaland, maybe Europe or maybe Canada, but we are all one. So we are united. So any small impact to any human being at any corner of the world, it is an impact to everyone. So any new innovative things which you are bringing in or coming up into a market would be helpful to everyone, each one of us. Yeah, Hitan bhai.
Yeah, absolutely. So with this word and very like lots of knowledge about the environment saving, will I would say adjourn the today's session, and will continue this practice of saving the environment and working towards a better environment for lifelong. So thank you all. Thank you, sir, for having this session. With this word, I will request all to like will come to an end, and I will adjourn the session.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.